everybody, this is our second part of our vlog about the digestive journey that your food goes through in the body, what happens to the food, how it gets digested, and problems it can cause in any certain area. Our first consultation on this was last time, and we talked about the digestion in the mouth, the amylase, swallowing through the esophagus, problems that can occur in the esophagus when it comes to esophageal erosion, heartburn, things like that, and what causes that. Then we went into the stomach, talked about the H. pylori bacteria, ulcers, and things that can go wrong with the stomach too. Now we're continuing our journey, and this time we're talking about half the things that can go wrong in the small intestine. So after food has been worked on in the stomach and the acids have worked on the proteins, we then get shuttled off to the small intestine where the gallbladder comes into play, the pancreas, and some other things too. So we're going to talk about that. In the small intestine, what does the small intestine do? Well, it digests foods and distributes it to the body's blood system through trillions of microorganisms. There are 10 trillion organisms in there and 1,000 different tribes that do all their different functions, and there's a hierarchy of them. If that hierarchy gets off, well, we start having problems like irritable bowel disease, which is a group of diseases that can happen in the small intestine. So we're going to talk about IBD, irritable bowel disease at this point. What can cause some things that happen that cause this is, well, antibiotic regime. Anytime when you've had antibiotics in your body, whether you be young, 4, 6, 8, 10, 20, 21, whatever, 40, if you've been on antibiotics for a week, well, antibiotics kill what? They kill bacteria, right? And so you have 10 trillion of them in your stomach. You start taking some of the antibiotics, you may not feel well, bloating, digestion, stomach pain, it can go on and on. But to get to the short of it, so when you take the antibiotics and your gut deals with mainly bacteria, well, does the antibiotic just go into your gut and start killing all the bad guys that are there, the reason why you're sick? Or does it line all your bacteria up against the wall and shoot them all down? What does it do? Some people say, oh, I got really, really smart antibiotics. They just kill the bad guys. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So everything gets lined up against the wall. Everybody gets shot and stuff, the good guys and the bad guys. You have a whole bunch of detrimental things floating around after that your body has to take care of and clean up. But to make a long story short on that is that, so now if there's a certain hierarchy of these 1,000 tribes, and that hierarchy gets upset because it has the most warriors in there, okay, well, now other things are going to take over. This disposition, what things can go wrong in your small intestine, causes lots of problems, one of them being inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, we can have a poor diet can cause this. We can have a parasite attack. We could have an autoimmune attack, that your body doesn't like something going on. We'll get into that too. So it's going to send in the white blood cells and then cause other problems in the body because it doesn't recognize them as being good guys, okay? Even your own body can be labeled as bad guys in an autoimmune attack. So let's talk about this. So when it comes to inflammatory bowel disease, we have Crohn's disease. That's the first we're going to talk about. And what Crohn's disease does, it can be from, it can cause food malabsorption, vitamin deficiencies, body toxicity, anemia, poor health, chronic fatigue syndrome, a whole fibromyalgia, a bunch of stuff that Crohn's disease can cause. So what causes Crohn's disease, though, is that a portion of, let's say, bacteria, or could even be fungi like Candida, attacks the long pili-like or finger-like structures in your intestine that absorb the food, okay? You have all along your intestinal lining, you have all these towers of these one-cell things that absorb the food, get in your bloodstream, and Crohn's disease will chop off a lot of the length of that absorbing pili-like structure. So it goes from like shag carpeting to Berber carpeting, just mows it down, and so absorption is less. So you have food malabsorption, vitamin deficiencies, anemias, mood issues, overall poor health, and leads to many other body diseases. So Crohn's disease with that is autoimmune. So it's also due to Candida coming by and like a lawnmower just chopping down your cells and do the absorption. So Crohn's disease, not fun to have. So constipation, abdominal pain, diarrhea, bloating, fatigue, insomnia, it causes all those things. As a matter of fact, so does our second thing we're talking about, which will be irritable bowel syndrome or IBS. We've all seen it in commercials. A person may be playing frisbee out in a park, and all of a sudden they get a really tough expression on their face. and they got to run immediately to the washroom, drop the frisbee, and go. Or they could be in the grocery store, or they're having a conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden the expression changes on their face, and they're off to the washroom like a bolt. That's irritable bowel syndrome. So with irritable bowel syndrome, we have a stop and go situation going on with the intestines. Could be due to nervous things, stress, vitamin deficiencies also. Many things cause this. And so when that occurs, what can we do about it? Because it's like everything going full out an expressway, and you're going 80 miles an hour, and all of a sudden traffic stopped ahead of you, and you got to slam on the brakes. So with irritable bowel, we have bouts of diarrhea, then bouts of constipation. Bouts of diarrhea, bouts of constipation. As a motility factor of the muscles in your small intestine changes due to your nervous system. So irritable bowel syndrome can be caused by autoimmune issues, any type of, it can cause diverticulitis, brain fog, fatigue for sure, and just as constant worry and stress, you may have to get up anytime to go to the washroom. So irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, is really a rough thing. Next thing I'd like to talk about is candida, or a fungus infection. It's tough. Candida infections don't really, when it comes to taking antibiotics don't affect it. It's a fungus, not a bacteria. Okay, so if you do have candida, well, you have to get on some of the natural things out there, like marshmallow roots, fantastic for it. Berberines, another good natural thing to take if you have a candida fungus going on. But it's infiltrative. It does belong in your digestive system, and it can proliferate out of control if you have a really bad diet. A diet with lots of sugar is really horrible, because candida loves sugar. As a matter of fact, candida is so insidious that if it doesn't get enough sugar so it can reproduce to huge quantities, that it'll emit enzymes into your small intestine that go in your bloodstream and actually go up to your brain and have you crave sugar. That craving is as strong as an addiction to morphine. So candida, which is a fungus, is very insidious on that. So birth control pills can cause that too, autoimmune issues, and of course an antibiotic regime can knock things out of sorts in your small intestine, causing candida or this fungus to proliferate. All right, so what can you get with candida? Chronic fatigue, bad memory, difficulty going to the washroom, brain fog, fibromyalgia, diarrhea, headaches, I can go on, allergies, and things of that nature. So candida is tough to get rid of, but there are natural ways, and we do that here at Apex. So if you have problems, any as we've mentioned today, you may have been diagnosed, or you've not been diagnosed. If you've not been diagnosed, come on in, let's see what's going on, and we can definitely get you diagnosed. This is our first half of what we're talking about when it comes to things that can go wrong in your small intestine. We have the other half to go. That'll be containing things like leaky gut and other things, and SIBO. So we'll get that too. So all these acronyms out there. So I hope you enjoyed our talk here on this first part of our small intestine talk. Second half of that and third in our series is coming up next time. Enjoy, get out there, and be healthy.